create virtual environment, and activate. Command, Python 3 and venv base, activate, source base bin activate. Required files to run Django project in Docker. Requirements txt, Docker file, Docker compose YML.
This Docker file sets up a containerized environment for a Django application using Python 3.13.2. Let's break it down step by step. 1. Base image. Docker file from Python 3.1.13.2. This line specifies the base image for the container. It pulls the official Python 3.13.2 image from Docker Hub. Hop 2. Environment variable. Docker file env python unbuffered equals 1. This ensures that Python output, e.g. logs, is not buffered, meaning logs are immediately written to the console. 3. Working directory. Docker file workdir/app. Set /app as the working directory inside the container. All subsequent commands will be executed in this directory. 4. Copy requirements.txt. Docker file copy requirements.txt copies the requirements.txt file from your local machine to the /apps directory in the container. 5. Install dependencies. Docker file run pip install no cache dir-r requirements.txt installs the Python dependencies listed in requirements.txt. No cache dir prevents caching of installation files, reducing image size. 6. Copy project files. Docker file copy.app/ copies all the files from your local directory into the /app directory in the container. Number 7. Expose port. Docker file expose 8000 informs Docker that the container will listen on port 8000, Django's default development server port. Note, this does not publish the port. You need to use -p in Docker run or configure it in Docker Compose. 8. Run Django server. Docker file command python manage.py run server 0.08000 sets the default command to start the Django development server. 0.0.08000 ensures the server is accessible from outside the container. This Docker compose.yml file is defining a Docker Compose setup for a Django application. Let's break it down. 1 version, YAML version 3.9, specifies the Docker Compose file format version, 3.9 in this case, ensures compatibility with newer Docker features. 2 services. Docker Compose allows defining multiple services. Here, we have one service, API. YAML services, API. The API service represents the Django application. SHA-3, build context. YAML build, context, Docker file, context. The build context is the current directory, Maki. Docker file, uses the Docker file in this directory to build the image. SHA-4, ports. YAML ports 8000, maps port 8000 on the host machine to port 8000 inside the container, required for accessing the Django app at http:/localhost 8000. Volumes. YAML volumes /DJ project/app mounts the DJ project folder from the host machine to /app inside the container. This allows code changes on the host to reflect in the container without rebuilding. 6. Interactive mode. YAML stdin open. True true. Stdin open true. Keeps standard input open. TTI true allocates a sudo TTY, useful for interactive debugging, e.g. running python manage.py shell inside the container. Summary. This setup builds the Django project from a Docker file, maps port 8000 for external access, mounts local code into the container for development, allows interactive debugging inside the container.